All right. Hey guys, this is Michelle Gines, and welcome to the Reimagine You Lab podcast, where you know how we do. I am
That's
your
right.
Reimagine strategist, and today I have the Leon Sarai in the lab today. Leon, welcome.
That's right.
Welcome.
Welcome. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. I appreciate you just giving me the opportunity to be on your platform. I know you're doing things real big right now. So, hey, now I did notice this. I went in and I looked at all of the people you've invited before, and my feelings was hurt a little bit that I'm like number 6 on the list. I thought I was at least in the top 5, top 3 or something. But hey, I'm here now, so I'm glad.
Leon, you know what, Leon? Hey, do not count it. Listen, you in here. You in the top.
That's right. I'm in here. That's
10.
right. There you go. There you go.
Leon is the CEO of Sarai Marketing. Leon has been one of my favorite people. First of all, Leon, I am so glad that you had the time and was available to be with me today. As a matter of fact, Leon is a go-to. He is one of the people that I think is the purveyor of great things. This guy, I tell you, is strength. He is optimism. He is momentum. As a matter of fact, we done spent a whole podcast talking before we even hit the record button.
Yes.
Tell you all the stuff. So, Leon, as we were coming on today, we were just talking about this 10 for 10. Is that on the table? Can we talk about that as we're talking about change? This is the season. The season that we're in is we're talking about change is just a choice. And a lot of times people are impacted adversely when it comes to change, but change is one of those things that I kind of see as an opportunity. And so that's why we're talking about it today. So we were talking about that 10 for 10, right?
Yeah.
Tell them about that, Leon. Let's start.
Yeah. So just to start, because I know we had a pre-podcast before we had the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, we were actually just exchanging some gems with one another on business and life in general. I just started off Leon Sarai Marketing. I've been doing digital marketing now for about 17 years. But I'm also coach at another company I own called Ministry Marketing and Motivation, where our goal there is to use biblical principles to help Christian business owners. I help them whether they're consultants, whether they're coaches, whether they have service businesses. We want to give them some of the information that we've used over the years. You know, my goal as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, as a Christian, is to help people who were where I was 10 years ago and help them get to where I am now. And one of the things that I learned over the years, and me and Michelle, we just talked about this, is that you need some who's in your network, some people that you can go to. We waste so much time trying to figure out how to do things, how to build the website, how to move my social media, how to do Facebook ads, how to do click funnels, how to, reach out and do lead generation, when really the question should be who can I get? Who can I count on to do those things, to free up my time to do the things that God has called me to do, that I am more focused on, that I'm also better at, that I'm called to. So part of the Ministry Marketing Motivation, and there actually is a website called ministrymarketingmotivation.com. I know it's long. Everybody kept saying you need to shorten it, MMM and 3M and all this M, but God said ministry, marketing, and motivation. The one reason why it's called that is because that is the gift that I walk into. I walk into the gift of exhortation. And part of the gift of exhortation, you can read it there in Romans 12, is to encourage and to build up. And I think ministry is one of those areas where, what am I doing for God? Right? What vocation has God called me to? And then marketing. What am I doing with my business and my occupation? And then motivation. We all need new motivation each and every day, because really motivation creates discipline. But if we don't get motivated, then we won't have the discipline we need to keep going. So that's one of the things. But as we talked about, as far as the 10 for 10, if I may go there, Michelle, or did you have some before I roll in the 10 for 10?
Lynn, jump on into the 10 for 10.
Yeah, 10 for 10 is something that I just recently started, because I'm always looking for new ways to motivate myself. I'm always looking for new ways to push the needle. So something that I came up with called 10 before 10. And what it means is I want to do 10 things before 10 a.m. that actually push the needle to the goals that I have. Now, I believe there's 5 areas in your life that God is calling us to succeed in. And I seen Dr. Darius Daniels do something similar to this as far as the categories that he used. But there's things that I want to see my life prosper in. One, I want to see my life prosper spiritually and in my character. I want to see my life prosper in my health, because if I'm not here, if I'm not healthy, I can't be the witness that I need to be, or the strength for my family that I need to be. So that my spiritual, my character, which is one, my health, which is another one. Then there's going to be my resources and how I handle my money, but also my emotional resources, right? Where am I, not just where I'm spending my money, but where am I spending my emotional resources? Then there's going to be my business and my work. How am I moving the needle? God wants to see me prosper in that as well. So we had health, we had business and work, we had our relationship. That was the fifth one, the relationships. God wants to see our relationships prosper. So what I do is in 10 before 10 is I try to make sure that I can do something positive in each one of those areas that will build me some momentum in those things. For example, I get up about 4:30 a.m. and I go and I work out. So I put workout on. Number one thing I did today before 10, I worked out. Dash, what is that? That's my health. Okay, if I eat a decent breakfast or something like that, fruits, oatmeal, whatever, that's another check. That's my health. I pray with my wife. Boom, that's a relationship. That's spiritual, that's character. I do a devotion. I'll read some form of devotion. I teach Bible study on Thursday night, so a lot of times I might spend that time studying a particular book of the Bible. That's spiritual and that's character. Motivation. Of course, in order for me to stay motivated, I need people motivating me. So I'll always watch something or read something that's motivational. Okay, right there, that's spiritual and that's character. Then I start looking at what business proposals can I send out? What invoices haven't I sent out? What's some new campaigns I can start? What are my people who I'm competing with in this industry of digital marketing? What are some things they're doing? What can I learn? And I just constantly find myself trying to find at least 10 things I can do before 10 a.m. And what that does is I win the day before most people even start getting lunch. I've already won the day, and I get so much done and so much accomplished, and it builds so much momentum by putting my mindset in a 10 before 10 stratosphere to get me going that in the mornings.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, Leon. And you know what? That is so critical. You know what? And as a matter of fact, one of the things that I think is important is that you kind of have a routine. If you have that already planned out, hey, this is how I'm planning to win the day, you already have won just by even having a way that you're gonna start, right? Hey, you already know that this is what you're doing. Yes. And you got a list. You checking it off. Hey, this ain't a Santa Claus list. You're making a list and you checking it twice.
Definitely.
Starting there, you're gonna win.
Yeah, definitely. Win. And as we talk about change as well, that's part of the change, right? There was a time when you just kind of wake up and get up and you kind of go with the flow. But if you don't control your day will control you. So even in those 10 before 10s, and I mentioned before on the pre-podcast, as we call it, I some mornings I might get to 7 and then hit a stump and don't really have a whole lot there. So I don't necessarily always have 10 things that I have pre-planned. But then what that creates in my mind is, because my mind knows we got to get 10 things done, that it gets creative and it starts pulling things out that I'm not thinking of that I can do that can help push the needle for my business, for my relationships, my health going forward. So then it just gives me creativity. And that's one of the keys to 10 before 10 or anything, is having that skill set that's called figure it out. That's a skill set, right? Figure it out. Because check this out. I see you ready to go, Michelle. I see you check this out. Because what happens is your brain is designed to make you a truth teller.
Yeah.
Your brain is designed to make you a truth teller. So whatever you tell your brain's going to be in agreement with you. Mm-hmm. If you tell your brain, we can't do that, your brain says, okay, we can't do that. Right. And your brain don't give you the resources to do it. If you tell your brain, I hate doing this homework. Your brain said, I hate it too. So and your brain will start finding other things you can do. This is why so many people think they work good under pressure, but they really don't work good under pressure. The thing is, you got 2 weeks to get something done, and every day you say, I don't feel like doing this, I don't feel like doing this, I don't feel like doing this. And your brain say, I don't feel like doing it either. So let's go ahead and call somebody. Let's go ahead and email somebody. Let's go. And then the last night is due tomorrow. You're like, dang it, we got to get this done. And your brain say, okay, let's get it done. Then all of a sudden you get what you had 2 weeks to do it, but you get it done in one night, and you think, man, I work good under pressure. No, you put your brain in the position where it had to figure it out, where it had to get it done, and your brain gave you what you needed. No, had you had a different mindset leading up to that, right, you could have got it done a week ago. You could have got it done 3 days ago. But you put your brain didn't want to make a liar out of you. So your brain said, okay, we got to get it done. Let's get it done.
Yeah. You know what? Your brain is fueled by whatever you tell it, Leon.
Yeah.
Your brain is really operates in a default mode. If whatever you have told your brain, like if you have been telling your brain works in default. And if your brain is whatever operating mode that you have put your brain in, is going to continue to operate in that mode. You can change your brain. Your brain
you can
be rewired. You can. It's called neuroplasticity. I've done some brain work.
Come on.
You can rewire your brain. It can create new pathways. You can change. That's why it does. When people have strokes, they have to go and they have to learn how to do things over again. But you don't have to wait for your brain to have a stroke or for something bad to happen to you for you to rewire your brain. You can say, hey, brain, I want you to operate differently right now. You can change your brain. You can rewire it. All you have to do is decide.
Hey, man, that's good. And then since we're on that brain and rewiring and the brain can change, that's what the Bible's about, and that's what God wants us to do. He said we have to renew our minds.
Yeah, transform.
He mean you got to change your brain, right? Because when you come into Christ, because one of the things you asked me, what was the biggest change and has the greatest impact on me, and that has been giving my life to Christ. I remember it like it was yesterday, February the 22nd, 2008. I truly gave my life to Christ, and that has been my greatest impact. That gave me a target now, right? And my target has nothing to do with this. It has to do with following Christ. Am I following Christ with my daily life? Am I following Christ with my thought life? More importantly, and we talked about you talked about the brain changing. People don't like change. However, people are willing to change. Right? They're willing to change. They're willing to change. They're willing to change everything. They're willing to change their jobs. They're willing to change their spouses. They're willing to change their friends. They're willing to change their homes. They're willing to change the cities they live in. People now, they're even willing to change their genders. To line up with what they think.
Right.
But the one thing they're not willing to change is their mind.
Yeah.
People will not change their mind for anything because they're so set that the way they're thinking is correct. And that is the one thing that God can change.
Yeah,
is our mind. And that's the one thing we refuse to change. Right. So I'm glad that you said that you can change it.
Right? Yeah, you can. As a matter of fact, if you will change that first, it will make the most difference for everything else.
Yes.
Because all of those things that you just talked about that people are willing to change, it started with their mind first.
Yes.
And if you will start with that, it will because it is so impactful. We had talked about, like they talk about this new way of thinking. There used to be a song, a whole new way of living, a whole new way of life, right? Like we would say, but when the Lord tells us, be not changed be transformed by the renewing of our minds, right?
Yeah.
So take captive every thought, He asks us to do that for our sake. Now God, because he's not one that he's going to impose his will, he gives us the space and the freedom to make those choices. Like he doesn't even mandate that we choose him. He says, hey, I'm going to give you free will to choose me.
That's right.
You, but I'm going to allow you to choose me. But by choosing me, you choose life or death, choose good or bad. You make the choice. I'm going to let you choose. But based on what you choose, your life can be extraordinary.
That's right. And that's why. Exactly. And that's why you see the glass half empty, glass half full perception, where you can see people on both sides of it because they choose to see it from a different thing. And you said that one of the questions you asked me was, how did change you? And one thing that change does, by giving my life to Christ, you have to change, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it
you
changes
do.
you.
It
All
does.
things have passed away.
That's way
Behold, all things
things are
become new.
new.
That's a change. So the thing that it did for me is it changed my perspective on
Yes.
everything.
Come on, Leon.
Perspective is everything. So
Yeah.
so when the Bible teaches us not to worry, it's not saying there's not a situation that's worth worrying about. It's saying, but if you change your perception on how you're looking at the situation. One example I always use is the two kids who grew up and their parents were crackheads. One of them turned out to be a crackhead, and the other one turned out to be a millionaire.
Yes.
And people say, so the situation that their parents were drug addicts. That's true.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
Right. So you got situation and you got outcome. Parents were drug addicts, situation, true, fact. Stick a pin in it. It's there. You can't debate it.
Right.
Outcome. So how do they outcomes become so different? One way that the outcomes become so different, but every time we have a situation, the next and most important thing is, what is your interpretation of that situation?
Yes.
How do you interpret that situation? Right. The young man who ended up just like his parents, they asked him, how did you become addicted to crack? He said, well, my parents were addicted to crack. And then they went to the other young man and said, how did you become a millionaire? He said, because my parents were addicted to crack. They both had a different interpretation of the situation, which then changed their mindset moving forward. And that's the thing that we have to understand. The Bible tells us to change our mind, to be transformed, not to be conformed. When you think of transformation, I think of caterpillars and butterflies, right? You'll never see a caterpillar say, you know what, I don't want to become a butterfly. But the problem is, a lot of times we have so many believers who want to stay caterpillars and they don't want to become butterflies, because it has to be a transformation, not just something that we ascribe ourselves to as saying that we're walking with the Lord.
And the thing of it is, Leon, it requires work. You have to do the work.
There you go.
You gotta do the work. Oh my God, Leon, listen.
There you go.
Listen, Leon, I hate this because we got way too much more to talk about. We got way too much more to talk about.
We can do a part two. We can do a part two.
We're gonna have to. I feel like
we can do a part two.
We haven't even got into all this, the fullness of this. Oh, Leon, I love talking to you. We definitely got to do a part two. And a part three, and a part four, and however many parts we're gonna have to do. Leon, give them the website again. It's ministrymarketingandmotivation.com. That is what you do. That is who you are.
Yeah. So if you go to Ministry Marketing Motivation, it's ministrymarketingmotivation.com. It'll send you to a spiritual gift test. I think the place that everybody needs to start is finding out what your spiritual gift is. When you fill out the form for the spiritual gift test, it'll send you to a thank you page. Thank you page will send you to ask you to join my Ministry Marketing Motivation group. Now, this is not the automated spiritual gift test where somebody gives you a response and say, okay, this is your spiritual gift, and they give you these little bullet points. No, this is one where my team will actually go back and look at your responses, and they will actually match it up to what your spiritual gift is. Then once we find out what your spiritual gift is, we're going to send you some email information regarding what that gift is and where it best places in the marketplace. All right. Where does this best fit in the marketplace? This is amazing because me and my wife did our spiritual gift test, and we both seen that the work and jobs we're doing fit what our spiritual gifts are. And we had no idea. Some kind of way, because it's how God created us, we gravitated to those professions and gravitate to those careers. And now she has the spiritual gift of teaching, and she's a director of continuing education for one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. And she didn't know her spiritual gift was that until we confirmed it through the test, but then she just gravitated to it. And then mine being the gift of exhortation, I find myself teaching, coaching, encouraging individuals in growing It's about
Yeah.
growth with me, Michelle. It's all about growth. Hey, the
That's what
thing
you
that
do.
agitates you is probably the thing you've been called to. And one of the things that agitates me is seeing people not grow spiritually. And that's why I think I'm called to that.
You
Because I'm
called
tired of
it.
being agitated by I want to see people grow.
Awesome. I love it. I love it, Leon. Thank you for coming on today. This has
Yes.
been a blessing. You always bless me. Me and you are going to chat. So look for my
Oh,
text.
for sure. For sure. We
My
will.
text. All
Definitely.
right. Be blessed. Thank you guys for tuning in. Every Friday, we drop a new episode. Love for you to tune in. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and share this episode with a friend of yours. Make sure that they're tuning in. Love you being here. This has been Michelle with the Reimagine You Lab podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode. Love you guys. Be blessed.